Alright, what are we drinking this week? This is actually my old coffee roastery from Melbourne, so Rumble Coffee Roasters. They still do a killer job, so check them out. Hey, my name is Dan Bicknell. Welcome to the Drum Cave. For those that don't already know, I am a session drummer and educator based down in New Zealand, so on the bottom of the planet. So in terms of the education side, I run masterminddrummer.com where I put up free resources and courses on the curriculum that I teach. I've been an educator for 25 of the 27 years that I've been playing the drums. But then on the session side of it, what do I mean by a session drummer? Well, essentially I get paid to play with people. Now this could be in the studio, so with artists like the Bennies,
Boring people with boring lives.
Dan Sharp, Jackson Owens, Kimbra. But then a large portion of what I do is playing live also. So with artists such as Eka Vandal,
Counting on the young view for your pedestal.
once again Kimbra, Tonight Alive, Miami Horror, Georgia Lines,
I've never really had love, one that I could lean on.
Watsky,
Oh shit, what the fuck's up?
and most recently the powerful Natasha Bedingfield.
Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window.
I'll add too that I'm actually getting back on the drums with Natasha, so I'll be heading over to join her for her UK and Europe tour in a few weeks' time. They're an amazing crew and I'm very much looking forward to getting back on the kit with them. Now, in terms of session work, I say all this to say that it's actually quite a mixed bag, and honestly, I love it. It's quite crazy. I started off as a prog metal drummer essentially, so my band, the New Caledonia, which was an instrumental prog band, is really where I cut my teeth. This band, amongst my Tool tribute band, consumed the majority of my teens and early 20s. And with all the skills that I was acquiring, the New Caledonia was the band that I expressed those through. And what's interesting as a session drummer is that I play a lot of pop. And honestly, seriously, I love it. Pop's great because you can lay down a heavy pocket and there's usually room for a little bit of color, which is exactly what I like. But I still have a very strong foundation in heavy/progressive music. So when I'm in the room and I'm just working on my playing, I tend to be leaning into the heavier stuff. You'll remember last week's video where I talked about my top 5 drummers for those first 5 years of playing. Well, one of the guys that I didn't mention who was massively influential was Joey Jordison. So when the first album dropped, I literally spent weeks learning every single note on that album. Joey was actually the one that introduced me to the double kick pedal. And no matter what I've done over the last 27 years of my drumming career, I still have a very strong foundation in that heavy, more progressive side. I can't deny though, I do love playing pop. But with that heavier foundation in mind, it's really important for me as a drummer and a creative that I have an outlet for that side of my playing. And that outlet can vary. Sometimes it's ideas that I write and I give to local friends or send to, say, my amazing guitarist friend in the States, Ricky Davenport. So with that track in particular, I wrote and recorded all the drums within 24 hours and then just sent Ricky a full single track that he wrote his parts to, and that was the outcome. Or sometimes I'll write a groove and I'll put it up online and then someone will take it upon themselves to write on my groove, and in this case, turn it into a fully fledged song. Or the other way that I do it is that if I come across something that inspires me, then I will write drums to that. So that could be me just coming across a little idea that I write drums to and then post about it, tagging the artist and making sure that they get a little bit of promotion too. Or if I'm really inspired, then I'll actually reach out to that person and ask if I can have the track, a drumless version, that I can sink my teeth into and write some drums. And that's exactly what I did with the track that I want to share with you today. So recently I came across the profile of Chris Bedan. And I'll be honest, I don't actually know much about Chris. I know that when the algorithm showed me his profile, I saw that he followed me, so I followed him back. But what pulled me in with Chris was the songs that he was writing. So he writes these heavy as fuck tunes, and he does it all in the box from what I can tell. So when I saw that clip, I thought, fuck, I really want to write to that. So I sent Chris a DM and I said, hey man, would you be keen to send me the drumless version of that track? I'd love to write some drums. Chris was super keen, so he sent the track through, and basically over a 2-day period, in and amongst my work and teaching, when I had a free moment, I started writing. So on the first day, I focused on the majority of the track, which I wrote and recorded when it was fresh and in the moment. And then on the second day, I focused on the last 45 seconds of the track, so the outro. And for this outro, I basically spent the same amount of time on the last 45 seconds of that outro as I did on the rest of the whole track. It's one of those sort of epic build outros where you've got to catch all the stabs and there's opportunity to write interesting parts that really lean into what Chris is doing. And I've got to say, man, I'm really happy with the results, and Chris is over the moon too. So what I thought I'd do is I'd quickly whip a video together talking about this track as I am now, but also talking about how collaboration is king. You have to make sure as a creative, especially if you're in the session work world, that you keep actively collaborating with people on a creative level. It is the only way that you are going to truly create a sustainable and creative and fulfilling career. The reality is that no matter what you're doing, over time, work becomes work. So you need to make sure that you offset that with a creative outlet that really lets you express yourself, gets the brain firing, gets the memory working, troubleshoot through parts that you're not used to doing, things you haven't come across before, essentially to keep the mind fresh. And that's exactly what this track did for me. So what I'm going to do now is literally just comp those two parts of the song together, those two raw takes that I did, for you guys to hear here. Now, Chris and I are in talks of doing more collaborations together, but rather than retracking for the sake of this video, I wanted to show you guys the raw, unedited takes that I did, comped together, so you could see where I was coming from in the moment as a creative and a songwriter. So, if you can, put your headphones on, then you'll really get the benefit of some of those lower frequencies and enjoy this heavy as fuck track, a collaboration between myself and the masterful and powerful Chris Bedan. Let me know your thoughts below.